Hey, welcome to coinhub.news daily, where I discuss the top crypto news from around the world as picked by you. The links to the articles and timestamps are below in the description. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. My name is Suda, and here are today's topics. The gold versus Bitcoin argument rages on. Willy Woo, the crypto researcher from Australia, citing a myriad of factors to assert his claim that Bitcoin will eventually surpass the market cap of gold. To quote, "Mathematical scarcity beats perceived scarcity." Pointing to several factors like gold and other precious metals are being mined, but not only that, in the future they could be mined on asteroids and be brought back in bulk amounts, which will see some change in how the precious metals are viewed, whether they're precious after all. We all know diamonds artificially hold their value due to an emissions rate into the market from the powers that be, and not so long ago, Chinese scientists pretty much achieved alchemy by making a copper amalgamate that functions virtually like gold in electronics. All of these amount to perceived scarcity, where things can change as a technological advance is made. In contrast to that, Bitcoin, there will only be 21 million, and that's forever. Forever, ever? Forever, ever? And even that's a flawed statement because we know about 4 million Bitcoin are lost, as in they're on people's laptops that were broken, people who lost hard drives that had Bitcoin wallets on them, people who forgot their private keys, and my personal favorite, an owner of a massive Canadian exchange that happened to die overseas and also just happened to be the only guy with the private keys for the whole exchange. Bullshit! So taking all this into consideration, Willy Woo has claimed that gold's days are numbered pretty much. Are Ethereum and Nvidia in cahoots in trying to take down ASICs? ASICs, or application-specific integrated chips, are machines that are built for the sole purpose of mining cryptocurrencies. These machines have dented the profits of people who traditionally use video cards or GPUs from Nvidia and AMD to mine their cryptocurrencies. Now enter Ethereum, which has ASICs that are mining it right now, and a large group of people who would like to mine Ethereum from the video cards that they already have would like to change the algorithm from proof of work to one that's called ProgPoW, which is progressive proof of work. This algorithm can be changed on the fly, sort of. That's not really how it works, but when ASICs come on the market and the ProgPoW engineers can make a slight change that would render them useless. Now the controversy comes because ProgPoW runs considerably better on Nvidia cards than it does on AMD. This comes among reports that 3 of the engineers working on ProgPoW are ex-Nvidia employees. I've talked about Nvidia's recent market woes and the stock market crashes in my first ever episode, which was last month, so this channel is a month old right now. Sorry, went on a tangent there. ASICs are a threat to Nvidia's bottom line, and they have made a lot of promises on being able to supply and sustain the crypto market. For me personally, I don't believe there's any foul play. If there are Nvidia engineers working on ProgPoW, I imagine it would work better on Nvidia cards because that's their background. Unless it comes out that they're still working for Nvidia. I don't think this is much of a controversy at all. But it does suck for people with AMD hardware. The New York Department of Financial Services has granted Cottonwood Vending a bit license, which is bound to bring more exposure into the market as Cottonwood Vending controls about 88 ATMs in New York. This is a big uptick in locations as there are only about 2,700 Bitcoin ATMs in the USA. And US already has the bulk of ATMs because the worldwide count is only around the 4,300 mark. So the rest of the world has a lot of catching up to do. Now it's time for Quick Bites brought to you by CryptoCrunch app. Go check them out at the App Store. In my last episode, which I'll link at the end of this video, I talked about Iran taking on US sanctions by using crypto. And they seem to have followed through by creating a gold-backed cryptocurrency in partnership with one of their big banks, Bank Pasargad. This is bound to have huge implications based on how effectively they circumvent US sanctions. In the first story today, I mentioned a Canadian exchange losing all their Bitcoin because their owner died in India. Well, QuadrigaCX, seems to be under more fire as Crypto Medication is reporting that they never held that much Bitcoin as they are alleging to have lost access to, and they are also alleging that QuadrigaCX will probably have access to that Bitcoin because it's very crazy to think that the owner had to put private keys for every transaction that the exchange was making, and they probably have automated APIs that do the work. South Korea's ban on ICOs is here to stay, as they have cited the high risk and high volatility of the ICO market is in contrast to the ability to bring consumer confidence in new financial markets. This review will probably take place again in the short term or medium term as the crypto market matures. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Boop, boop.